So pick up an instrument, the closest to you in the room, and play your heart into song. See what wonders you can conjure up. Ichiko Aoba is a gem, and if you don't think so, you either hadn't heard of her before watching this review, or you're just plain silly, either in an empty recording space or outside on a rock, because honestly, why not? She's been capable of strumming out some of the prettiest acoustic folk of the decade, although it's not like there's much to compete with besides David Thomas Broughton and Kevin from Your Next House Party who knows Jocelyn Flaws by XXXTentacion on guitar like it means the world to him. Ichiko Aoba has a refreshing air to her music, chilly in sound but warm in human emotion. Over the course of many records, she'd been capable of showcasing the power of songwriting at its core fundamentals. Goodness, I sound like a talking physics textbook. Just with her winding of melody and pacing, and even just down to the smallest details like the way that Ichiko strums and plucks the strings on her guitar, she directs the mood of the song into highly distinguishable spots, from 2010's Kamisori Otome, which cushioned and comforted as smitten as you'd hope any voice as soothing as Ichiko's to be. Sick leaf, by the way. From this point onward, she could have just kept writing pretty acoustic songs until the shtick got old, but any songwriter with even a popcorn kernel-sized smidge of self-awareness would realize that there's only so much time you can spend emulating the same style or cadence over and over before things just become a bit bloody tedious. Isn't that right, Mark Kozolek? In 2013, Aoba would take brave moves in ramping up the ambition in songwriting with something so stirring and provocative as Zero, which is still highly beautiful but with flecks of worry and danger hiding within. And remind yourself frequently that she's still only using a guitar and her voice to pull this off. Then in 2016, her album that year, signalled by a bit of an abyssal cover artwork, was, well, abyssal. It sure sounded pretty as usual, but it was clear that the mood of the album was soaking in far more melancholy feelings, to the point where it might make a Twitter fandom constantly post that I hope they're doing okay. So this new album here, QP, may as well be called QT, if you know what I mean. Haha! Yes, Ricky, we got it, you might say, as you crunch down on the mouse button, ready to click away. Wait, I shall exclaim. What if I told you that Ichiko Aoba has a lovely voice worth listening to more than mine? But that's not special, everyone has that, you may reply snarkily, awaiting my angered lash back at you. But I remain calm. Why? Because Ichiko Aoba's voice cools my temper down, of course, with melodies with a smittenly loving aura as much as the main theme tune to Disney Pixar's Up, as well as the second voice that has nearly brought me to tears this year just from how it sounds alone. The first was just from laughing really hard at my friend doing a really funny impersonation on the bus. There really is a point on track 3 where she sings a note so high it sounds like a kitten purring, and something like that honestly seems far too wholesome for a channel like this, but nevertheless maybe that's just what the music fellas needed. A dash of cute to combat the last few albums on my loved list that seem more like catcalls from Satan than anything else, and yet Ichiko sounds so friendly up front that she'd probably be able to befriend the devilish bastard anyways. I wish I could understand Japanese. As far as these lyrics go, Ichiko writes in the poetically specific kind of way, where slapping the words into Google Translate would just regurgitate a bunch of sentences that seem too out of context for a primarily English-speaking listener to emotionally connect to. I'd love to have a better understanding of how she pens these lyrics, but thinking about it now, she could honestly sing a recipe for vanilla custard and I'd still keep listening. It's obvious I'm wowed, like a fairly generous 8 out of 10 level of wowed, but what isn't so obvious is that I'm wowed simply because of one simple aspect to this simple album. Can you simply guess what it is? Well, it's that it's simple. Indeed, QP is standard fare for Ichiko, but the difference between standard fare for your local scruffy jangle pop outfit and standard fare for clean and simple acoustic folk from Ichiko Aoba is that the complete honesty to itself and sheer humility is always refreshing, a treasured memory retold before plucking out a series of pretty guitar arpeggios to flex on us a little bit more, but less in the show off kind of way and more in the hey, check this out, you might like it, smiley face kind of way.